Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to Studio Live today and GarageBand Weekly, our weekly dose of all things GarageBand. If it's your first time here, my name is Pete. This is Studio Live today, where my goal is to help you create, record, and release your best music. And we do that through tips and tricks and tutorials, as well as live shows like this one. So for the next 30 minutes, sit back, get a beverage of choice, buckle in, because we'll be talking nothing but GarageBand all the time. Whether you're on a Mac, whether you're on an iPhone or iPad, it doesn't matter as long as you're using GarageBand. You know what? If you're not using GarageBand, that's okay too. You can still hang around, because I think by the time you get through the next 30 minutes, you'll probably want to use GarageBand to create music, because it really is a simple platform, something very easy to get up and running with, but it has all the features and all the power to keep you going for a long time to come. Today on the show, we'll be talking about some rumours of some new iPads, some bugs reported in the latest iOS version, what's coming up in iOS 14, and my rant of the week will be about limitations and why they're a good thing when you're creating music. We'll talk about all that and more, but time to say hello to the folks who are here live. If you're here live on YouTube or Facebook, we do this show every week, every Monday morning for me. If you're here, like I am in Australia, it is 2 p.m. on the West Coast and 5 p.m. on the East Coast of North America, and it's 10 p.m. in UK time and around 11 for our European friends, depending where you are in the world. The only people we kind of leave out are the poorer folks in Asian countries. So buddies of mine like Ron Ward over there in Ho Chi Minh City, he'd be snoozing right now because it's like 3 in the morning. So, but for the rest of us, it's the most convenient time, given that we have this global community. Unfortunately, because the Earth is round and not flat, we all have the sun at different times. Therefore, there is no one best time to do this live. So we do it at this time. G'day to the folks we have here, Mr. Langston Reese. Patrick Moonbird, have not seen you around the place for a while. Patrick, good to have you here. SM Borthwick is here. We got Scott. We got Tom Rochelle. Gary Knight, haven't seen you around for a little while as well, my friend. Jeff Brush is here. We've got Sergio Alejandro Godinez Fernandez. Did I do an okay job with that? Let me know. Hopefully. Oh, guess who's getting a brand new iPad? I hope it's you. Otherwise, it's a very weird way of saying someone else is. But that would be very, very cool. I want to hear all about it. Let me know. Let me know the specs. What are the numbers, man? Hello, Improvisation. We've got Mr. James Orell, one of our wonderful moderators over at GarageBand Users, this very Facebook group here. Dane is here. Hello to you. We've got Welly. Welly is here. Bubba is going to miss the vid, but we'll catch up on the flip side. No problem. That's the beautiful part here, is that we've got you've got the ability to watch live, or you can catch up on the replay. None of these go anywhere. The internet is forever, or at least at this point in time, it seems to be forever. Darren Bryant is here. Hello to you, my friend. We've got Asa BT. Good to have you here. And we've got Benedict Stewart checking in, chiming in. Good to have you here as well. We will get in to the show in just a few moments. Let's just get myself set up, and then we'll dive on in to the show proper. I need a quick drink, because it is early in the morning. One of the downsides, anyone who's a vocalist will probably know this, the downside of early morning, you can hear that my voice is a little bit lower and gravelly. And it's actually a good tip if you ever want to produce vocals. Oh, hello, Gertrude. I accidentally clicked the button, but hello. Good to have you here. If you're a vocalist, you'd probably know this, that first thing in the morning, lower voice. And it's a good tip, actually, if you are trying to sing a really low part. Let's say you're doing a cover of the Crash Test Dummies, and you have to go like you have to get that really low voice. Then, yeah, first thing in the morning, you can usually sing probably around 3 to 4 tones, about half an octave lower than you can later in the day. Something to do with your vocal cords and not warming them up. Once they're warmed up, then you find it harder to sing those lower notes. So if you ever got a part you're trying to sing, roll out of bed and then jump and start singing it. Apparently it works well. So yes, we said hello to Gertrude, who's there, stuck in the 70s. Good to have you on board here. We got Richard McCutcheon. Hello to you. And Josephine, good to have you here. I was going to mention it yesterday in the Q&A show, but Josephine had an issue. Hopefully, let us know if it's been resolved yet, Josephine, where some of your YouTube subscriber count went down. If you ever, I've got what I call a 3-day rule which is if you're looking at something, a stat that's related to YouTube or Google or anything like that, give it 3 days, because chances are, if it looks really weird and wacky, chances are if you give it 3 days, it'll actually fix itself. Sometimes there's some weird delays and lags and inconsistencies in numbers and statistics. So, yeah, hopefully that was the case for you there. We've got Nacho Man Randy Sandwich. Pete Johns is live. Oh yeah, Pete Johns is live. That's true. It's not a rare thing. I'm live like 4 times each weekend. But yes, it's still cool because we're here live talking GarageBand, and I've spent too much time talking. So we need to jump in and get started. Signature music service. Oh yeah, also here. And Jeff Brush says, so far so good with my new iPad Pro. Got a new first gen 11-inch 256 megabyte. Excellent. Gigabyte, hopefully. The 256 megabytes would probably not get you very far. So hopefully that's the gigabytes there, Jeff. Alrighty, let's get started. We've got a lot to get through and I'm already running behind. So let's dive in with the show proper. So, GarageBand Weekly News and Notes is the first place that we start each week. We've got a few items here to talk through. So, number one is there's some rumors about some new iPads here. Just when you thought that it wasn't confusing enough with the iPad Air, the iPad Mini, the iPad Pro, and all the different sizes ranging from 7.9 inch, 9.7 inch, 10.2 inch, 11 inch, 12.9 inch. Apparently, we're now in 2021. Apple are looking at a new 10.8 inch, which is like, why wouldn't you just go to 11 like the iPad Pro? That doesn't seem to make a lot of sense. But yeah, apparently a 10.8 inch either iPad or iPad Air. So this could either replace the 10.2 inch current iPad, which is just called the iPad, just to be nice and clear. And then, or it could be a new iPad Air 4th gen, which would probably be my tip. I'm not sure that they'll continue on now that we've got the better chips. I think the cut down version of the iPad, the 2019, they'll probably leave in place for a couple of years. Seems to be the way they're going with those. And it'll be the new iPad Air 10.8 inch, which is a bit weird. And the other news is that the next generation of Mini is going to be slightly bigger. What is it with everything getting slightly bigger? It's probably the removal of the bezels. Bezels are a bad thing, so they're removing bezels. So an 8.5 inch iPad mini, which is getting so close to this 9.7 inch regular iPad, like 1 inch we're talking now off the corner. Like it's not going to be that mini, but I guess because you're saving on the real estate, I think the original minis, they had that big chunky bits around the side. They had the home button, so maybe we'll be seeing an iPad mini with no home button and a 8.5 inch screen. That could be interesting, but just something to keep in mind if you're like me and you're always a generation or two behind. The good news about that is 2021 iPads coming out next year will probably make the ones that have been released this year much cheaper because you can get the refurb ones and all the bleeding edge folks will go for the new ones. So just a couple of things to keep in mind. Second point for our news and notes, we've got a bug that's been reported affecting some folks using iOS 13.5.1, and it's primarily impacting folks connecting up audio interfaces. So we heard from a few folks in some shows yesterday in the home studio Q&A that they updated to the latest version, 13.5.1, and suddenly their things wouldn't connect. Now, it seems to be related to specific hardware. So iPhone 11s in particular seem to be having issues. So one user, I think it was Solrak M7, reported that his iPhone XR, 10R, whatever you want to call it, was still working with certain devices, but his iPhone 11 was not working. So, like most things, I mean, I roll the dice. I got to be honest. I just update and roll the dice and see what works and what doesn't work. But if you are in the middle of a super important project, like here's the thing: say you're halfway through an album and you've got a week left to finish recording your album, and you're using your iPad or your iPhone, should you update your iOS in the middle of that? No, you shouldn't. If there's no reason to, don't do it. But if you're just between projects and you're updating and it's not that critical, then go ahead. And if you have two devices and you've got one that you need as your daily driver that must be reliable, maybe don't update that one. And if you've got an older device, maybe update that one. So yeah, just keep an eye out for that. But we are expecting 13.6 to come out soon. So in the next couple of weeks, we should get that final iOS 13 update. And then of course, iOS 14 is hitting in September of this year in the fall, because I know what fall means, which is springtime for us here in Australia. And fall, I think, means autumn. Sorry, that's my pretend ignorance. Sorry, I just don't know why we have two names for a season. Doesn't seem to make a whole lot of sense. Anyway, let's continue on. So iOS 14. While we're on the subject, what is coming in iOS 14? So I did a whole show 2 weeks ago when we had the announcement, and it has been 2 weeks, and there's been a lot of people checking out the development beta, however you like to say it. I haven't because again, I don't have that desire to have the absolute bleeding edge stuff. I would rather be a little behind the eight ball, but also up to speed with sort of what's going on through other people. So I let other people be the guinea pigs, and I just sit back with my reliable or semi-reliable iOS 13 version, and then see what's happening. Because primarily, there's not a heap for musicians and for music and creators and video creators. There's not a whole lot going on here. So iOS 14 is coming in September. That's the word at the moment. We get widgets. So yes, we're finally caught up with Android. You can put widgets on your screen to do different things. What else have we got? We got the app drawer, which I don't know if anyone's going to use that, but right at the end of all your home screens, it's going to just have an app drawer. The one thing I like about that is you can convert that to just an alphabetical order list of all the apps installed on your phone, which I don't know. I kind of think that might be cool to just flick through. I can just go through and all the Nembrini apps will just all be right there. Maybe something like that. Might be useful. Picture in picture, I'm looking forward to. Now, there's still no word. If anyone's found this out, I haven't found out if it'll work with the YouTube app. It will work with any video in the Videos app, in Apple TV, and in Safari as well. So I guess if you're watching YouTube in Safari instead of the YouTube app, it'll definitely work. Haven't had a word on the YouTube app. And the reason I think that's interesting is if you have the YouTube Premium service at the moment and you're watching videos like this on YouTube Premium, you'll know that on your iPhone and iPad, you can actually listen in background mode already. So you can't watch the video, no picture in picture, but if you switch to another app, your video will continue. And even if you turn your phone off, you can listen. And I do that a lot of the time. I'm listening to YouTube videos as I'm walking around with my phone in my pocket and the screen off. So if you want to do that already, YouTube Premium's your way to go. What else have we got? The new compact UI for your phone calls and your Siri. I mean, that'll just be slightly handier. One thing I thought was cool that was sort of buried in the weeds was Emoji Search. Have you ever been looking for an emoji? You're just like, where's devil horns? And you're like scrolling through. Apparently now you'll be able to type in devil. I don't know if they'd call it devil horns or the horns. I don't know. But yeah, you'll be able to search your emojis, which might make it handy. We've got the stock translate app that's coming. That again will be good, especially because I know many people from different parts around the world are all creating music and interacting with each other. You can change your default email and browser apps. Can you change your music app? We haven't really had that confirmed yet. Probably not. I can't see Apple letting you change from the default Apple Music. Every time you tap something, it says, hey, want to sign up for 3 months of Apple Music? We'll let you in for free. First tastes for free, kids. We've got app clips. Yeah, they're just a thing. Now, there's some cool accessibility features, which I'm actually pretty excited about, not only for those who I know are vision impaired in the GarageBand community, but for the rest of us, I think this will be pretty cool too. So we have back tap support. So there's going to be an accessibility feature where you can tap the back once, twice, or 3 times, and that can run a shortcut. And not only can that run a shortcut, but it could run a Siri shortcut. So you could set up an elaborate Siri shortcut to do a whole bunch of stuff. So say you finish your GarageBand project and you go double tap, you can set that to like take the file, export it, convert it to MP3, and then upload it to somewhere. Like you could do a whole bunch of cool stuff with that. I'm pretty excited about that. What else have we got? Sound recognition for the hearing impaired. That's pretty cool. So you can have the microphone can recognize different sounds, smoke alarms, phone ringing, doorbells, that sort of thing. I think that's going to be pretty cool. What else have we got here? Yeah, it's a lot more security. So every time the microphone or the camera is being used, it'll have a little notification telling you that, which I think is cool. Pinned conversations in iMessage and tagging in messaging, and and another accessibility. So FaceTime, if you're using sign language, so Auslan or American Sign Language, it will identify that and it will put you as the prominent video. So if you are talking and someone is hearing impaired and someone's signing, then they're going to go to that prominent window in your FaceTime app. So anyway, I just thought I'd run through those because, yeah, there was a lot of stuff that came out at once. And I just wanted to give you a 2-minute overview of all the things that you might want to be either excited about or maybe they're all just a bit of a yawn. I don't know. Welcome to the other folks who've joined us here live since the start of the show. We've got Sion is here, Mystic Plays is in here, 1000 Watts, Albatross Sem is here as well, and who else we got? Finley Wright is here, Jeff Brush we've said g'day to. I think we've said g'day to everyone else. Alrighty. We will continue on here to our next section. So, what is our next section? It is our rant. How could I forget the rant of the week? I'm going to need some water. I'm going to need to. How weird is it the way we say water? Yeah, it's the one word that when I went to the US, they really struggled to understand me. So I'd be like in a cafe or a restaurant, and I would say, "Can we just get some water, please, mate?" And they'd be like, "Cool, what? Huh? What did that guy say?" So I actually legitimately had to change my pronunciation of water to water. So yeah, whenever I go to the States now, I'll be like, "Excuse me, water, please," and then they'll just like, "Sure." So yeah, just a little bit of that cross continental kind of thing for you there. So, what is my rant of the week this week? It is about limitations and why they're good. So, here's the thing I get two, three, four comments a week. Most of the time, I get comments from people saying, "Wow, I had no idea GarageBand could do all that." And I'm like, "Yeah, cool, isn't it?" And we high five. Well, we virtually air high five. But every now and then, I get someone who says, "I can't believe that you use GarageBand. I can't believe that you use your iPad or your iPhone to create music. Don't you know that DAWs like Pro Tools and Reaper and all these other ones exist? You are limiting your creativity by doing that." So, my response is usually pretty kind, and I say, "Thanks for your feedback. The beautiful part about the world and about the technology that we have is that everyone has the choice of what they use. And I'm not going to sit here and say that everyone's workflow is going to work with GarageBand. Some people's workflow will 100% not work with GarageBand, but you know what? Some people's workflow will 100% not work with Pro Tools or Reaper or any other software. You've got to work out what works for you. I know I'm a broken record on this stuff, but I'm going to keep saying it because I think the message is getting across for a lot of folks, but occasionally I'll come across some other people that are trying to tell people what they need to do. And here's the thing, you don't need to do anything. Music is subjective. There is no yes, no, right, wrong, black, white. It is subjective. So it means that you need to use the software that is going to help you make the best music. And if that works for your workflow and your music is sounding good and you're learning and developing your talent, then it doesn't really matter what you're using. The other point that I always say is that it's zeros and ones at this point. If I record on this device with my audio interface, with my USB microphone behind my shoulder there, it's recording 24-bit 44.1 kilohertz sound. If I plug that same device into my PC and record on Reaper, yes, I've got a lot of different options and plugins and buses and routing, but it's still recording 44.1 kilohertz, 24-bit sound. There is actually no difference in digital recording these days. Not like analog, where higher quality analog gear gave you a higher quality sound. And yes, you can talk about preamps and you can talk about converters, but that's all the same. The software's not changing that. That's just going in as a digital audio file. So there's that part. And then when people talk about limitations, I actually love limitations. I've given myself limitations like recording on 4 tracks. I love doing 4-track challenges. That's super, super fun. The limitation of GarageBand having only 32 tracks. With the sort of music I produce, I don't remember the last time I used 24 tracks, let alone 32 tracks. So it's absolutely fine for me. If I was always pushing at the end of those limitations and going, "Gee, I wish I could have more tracks," or "Gee, I wish I had buses or sends or a master track," or "I kind of do wish I had that," then yeah, fair enough. And look, this isn't to say that I won't try new things. I've got Cubase's 3 ready to go. I'm going to do a series on that in the coming weeks, but it means that I'm not limited. If I want to pick up and record a song tomorrow, I'm going to grab my iPhone or iPad, I'm going to load up GarageBand and I'm going to record it. And sometimes having those limitations actually gets you done better and quicker and able to do more things. So yeah, that's just, again, it's my rant. I know I go on that rant probably around about once a month, but it's important because I think too many people listen to too much stuff. I know it's a guy on YouTube telling you to not listen to guys on YouTube and girls on YouTube, but it's true. Like a lot of people are putting out their opinion, and they're putting their opinion as fact. And I've got a few songs about this, as you probably know. But opinions are fine. You can have your opinion and you can express it. But anytime someone says you must, you should, you have to, just take that with a grain or maybe like a shaker or a big mine of salt, because you don't have to do anything with your music. You use what helps you make your best music. Rant over. Before we get into the tip of the week, let's jump in and get to see what folks have got to say about this. So Gino Therese says, yes, I'm a big believer in limitations. Option anxiety is real. Yeah, I used to make lots of music on my iPad 2 GB. When I bought the new iPad just last year, there was so much more to GarageBand. I get a little lost sometimes. Yeah, 100% agree. I agree with that as well. Jeff Brush says, as a new user, GB seems the most user-friendly. I have Cubasis downloaded on a computer at home and found it very complicated. Yeah, I agree. I find things complicated as well. Tom Rochelle, bands like the Beatles and Rolling Stones produce famous records on much worse equipment than what BJ is currently GB is currently capable of. Yep, agree with that. James Arell says, I'm lucky enough to try out various DAWs. I've used a few now, but I still use GarageBand iOS all the time because it's really quick to get into. Yes, agree with that. And Finley Wright agrees as well. I don't need you to just agree with me, by the way. You are allowed to have a different opinion. And that's the other thing. If someone wants to have the opinion that people have to use it, that's totally fine. But the weird thing about an opinion that is completely like yes, no, black, white, up, down, is that the person saying the thing doesn't often realize that they're actually sort of contradicting themselves by giving you their opinion as a statement of fact. So just keep that in mind. I know it's a weird sort of concept, but saying something is exactly true without knowing the other person's feelings or their workflow or what they do, it just doesn't work. It doesn't work for me. I don't think it works for others. Alrighty, let's continue on here. The tip of the week, I've got a bit of a weird and a fun one for you as my tip of the week this week. So if you are using GarageBand, which I would hope you are, and now I know this for the iOS version. I actually haven't used the Mac version in so long, I'm not sure if it's the same, but I'm almost positive that it's also the same. You'll notice that you got the icons here for your virtual instruments are, pretty standardized. They're pretty cool. But your microphones here, they're kind of boring, yeah? But what if you want to change that up, change up the look and feel of this? Well, if you just tap on there, you'll notice that down the right-hand side here, you've got this little icons option. And a lot of folks have not explored this much, but it's a good way to get some variation. So what can you do here? Well, you can change your icons. So you can change it to a different thing here. So say you wanted to, you had a female and a male singer, and you wanted to denote that, you can tap the little female singer icon or the male singer icon. Say you've used a SM58 with one vocal, you can put, I've tapped it there, you can put that as that, and then say the other vocal you were using a different type of microphone, so you wanted to denote that with your icon, you could come in there, you can go to your other, and you can use that sort of microphone. So it's a good way to just clean up your projects. Oh, where's your done button? Oh, there we go. It's a good way to clean up your projects, and especially if you're merging tracks, if you're using the merge track. So let's just give you a demo of this. So if we just go in here and we merge this track, and we go, yep, just that one, merge it. It's going to copy it, merge it. It gives you just this one. So if you've got a guitar, and say that was a guitar, it's not, but say it was, and you merge it, you've just got this icon now, and that doesn't look so good. But if we tap there and we go to our icons, we can then tap guitar, and we can put it back to our guitar. Let's do a cool, funky guitar. There you go. So we can do that. And there you go. So now we know that even though that's a merged track, it's actually a guitar track because we've changed the icon. So track icons and sort of going along with that is track naming. As you know, you can also rename a track. Track icons and track naming is an important thing and a good way to keep your projects organized. If you're finding that you're getting lost and you're spending a lot of time scrolling up and down in your tracks, and it's the same with any DAW, but particularly GarageBand, name your tracks, and name your change your icons. The other thing that you may not know to do with naming is you can actually name sections. So you can just name a piece of audio. So as well as tapping on the track and renaming the whole track there, you can tap on an audio section there and rename that. And this actually renames just that audio section. So we can delete that and we just go audio, whatever we wanted to call it, verse, chorus, whatever. And you can see there that it changes the name of just that track, which is, sorry, not the track name stays the same, but each piece of audio. So if you had a piece of audio for your intro, your verse, your chorus, while you can't have track markers up the top, you can name your segments of audio down here in GarageBand. So just a couple of quick organizational tips that I use a lot, and when I pass on to people, they're like, wow, it's a simple thing, but it changes your workflow and it makes it easy, especially when you get to mixing. Once you've recorded, you've got all of your things detailed there and it all makes sense. So hopefully that helps you out. Alrighty. Sorry, I got a frog in my throat today. It's not fun. Let's move on to our plugin or app of the week. Now, this is one that I've been loving lately. It's not a new app by any stretch, but it's one that I've been really enjoying using, and it's the Stereo Lag plugin. I've been using it in a project that I've been doing for one of my clients recently, and it was sort of vocal that it was a really great vocal. She sung it really well. It was sounding great. It was just not quite cutting through the mix. Do you ever have those vocals where you're like, this is good, but there's just something about it that it's not cutting through the mix? So what I did is I actually added the Stereo Lag plugin to this one. So I'll just bring it up here. Here it is. So the Stereo Lag plugin here, you can see, I'll just come over here so I can see. Stereo Lag plugin. It's a very simple plugin. It literally, all I've done is pushed it left 12 milliseconds. So what this does, it actually splits the audio to left and right. So if you've got it down the center, it splits it left and right, but it adds 12 milliseconds of delay to just the left-hand side. So it actually gives you a pretty cool effect. I'll show you the effects quickly in one of my tracks, because I can't play that one. It's actually a cover song. So if I play that here, I'll get a copyright violation. But I'll find one that I'm working on, just this demo. So let's just find the one we were doing here. And I'm not hooked up here, so we'll just play it back on the iPad. Oh, go back to the start. When you open your eyes up to the sky above, and you feel the... So there's my my vocal there. If we come in here, I'm just going to quickly turn around so I can see what I'm doing. I'll set up the Stereo Lag, and then I'll let you listen to the sort of cool things it does. Where are we? Stereo Lag by Blue Man Goo. So there it is. The Stereo Lag's on there now, and we're at the start of there. If we add this, and we can add, again, if we just go, say the same thing, sort of 14 milliseconds on the left there. Now if you take a listen to it. When you open your eyes up to the sky above, and you feel the... It's just a little bit thicker. Now you can go nuts with it. You can go like really long and get something like this. When you open your eyes up to the sky above. So you can use it as an effect, but if you really just bring it down to maybe 12 milliseconds or right down to, like just 12 samples even, it can be like a really quick and easy vocal thickening effect. Like let's bring it right down to 12 samples and play it back there. When you open your eyes up to the sky above, and you feel... So it just thickens up that vocal, and yeah, I'm finding myself using it more and more. It's a cheap shortcut version of doing what another tip is, and I'm doing a video on these soon, so keep an eye on the channel. There'll be one this week. But there's another tip that you can do where you create multiple copies of the same audio, and then you shift them sort of to the left and the right, and then you even time delay them a little bit and even pitch delay them a little bit. So you can do all of that manually, or you can just throw the Stereo Lag delay plugin on there. And if you've got, say, 2 copies of the same vocal, then it's even better, because you can put like the second version just as an effect, and then maybe put like some reverb or delay, make it 100% wet, and then just add the stereo delay to that. So then you're just thickening up the effects, and it can give you this nice sort of ping-pongy bounce around kind of effect with your vocals. So I thought that was a cool one I wanted to share with you, because I've been using it quite a lot in the last week. It's been working well. Righty dokie, we're coming towards the end of the show. So before I do my resource of the week, we'll check in with the folks who are here and see if we've got any questions or any final comments from anyone here. Excuse me. So Patrick's saying I use that feature a lot, probably referring to the icons. James, thank you. Our resident Mac expert here are the same on the Mac. You just right-click on the icon instead. But Langston Reese, I know you can name sections. So you can name each audio bit, and you can name each track. You can't put any sort of file headers on there. Hello to Gertrude. Sometimes I find myself using GB like MS PowerPoint was a few years ago, when it had all sorts of fancy transition on all slides. So yes, to limitations. How true is that? When you have the things to do, how often have you seen someone overdo it? And I think you have to overdo it. It's like when you're learning PowerPoint, you do have to overdo it. You have to learn all the transitions so that you can realize that star wipe is really not something you're ever going to use, but it helps you learn that actually just a standard slide transition is good, and sound effects in your transitions are not good. All of those sort of things. But the same with audio engineering and producing. I don't think there's anything bad about trying to use these things. And in fact, what I say is that when you get a plugin for the first time, turn it up to the most extreme setting, just so that you can see where it can take you, and then dial back. If you never go extreme, you'll never know, what the possibilities and capabilities are. You'll always just be stuck in this, every time I compress, I only compress at a 2-to-1 ratio and like just a teeny bit of threshold. Nah, crank it. 20-to-1 ratio, threshold right down. See what happens when you completely flatten. What was I saying there? Completely just flatten and crank a vocal, and yeah, it can really help out with your learning process for sure. SM Borthwick, I used the rename quite a fair bit. I didn't know about the icons. Could be useful. Yeah, I think it's pretty useful. Scott says, I love this plugin, great for widening rhythm guitar. Yeah, so I showed it with vocal, really good on guitars, really good on drum loops. You've got a drum loop that's just sitting down the middle, it's like a bit of a mono drum loop, and you want to widen it up and give it some stereo feel. Yeah, throw stereo lag on that drum loop, and it's synth pads. Seriously, you'll go nuts with this thing. Again, like the PowerPoint example, you'll go nuts with it. You'll put it on everything, and then you'll work out what actually works for you. But yeah, for a simple free plugin, stereo lag time, yeah, it's ridiculous. Hello, Stu. Hope you're late to the party. Hope you're doing well. Tom Rochelle, yeah, so it's an auto doubling effect. Yeah, exactly. So you get a bit of a vocal double, and the other thing is, and I'll show you this trick. A little hint, little teaser. I'll show you this trick in the video I'm working on this week. But if you combine this with tuning your vocal down a little bit, there is a cool plugin, I won't reveal here, but there's a cool plugin that's also free that you can just tune your vocal up and down a little bit. And that's a renowned tip. So Mike over at Creative Source did a video last week. Warren Hewitt did a famous video like 7 years ago. It's not a new trick, but I don't think anyone's been doing it in GarageBand. So I'll be doing a video about that technique in GarageBand this week. So keep an eye out for that one. I think you'll find it super cool. We'll just see if we got any final comments here. Cool and interesting. That's what we like to do around here. Cool and interesting things. Looking forward to more on that app. Yeah, so we'll definitely be taking a look at that. Acer says the octave control voiceover bug is a huge problem for me. So yeah, I'm not sure about this, Acer. I know that Acer is one of our visually impaired members of the community, and some of the accessibility and the voiceover things work well sometimes, most of the time, but there's definitely some bugs that are helping, that are hindering, that are hindering some folks with their creativity. And Acer actually asked a question yesterday, so I'll put it out here as well. Is there any way that folks can think of that you could actually, with your volume in GarageBand, how you could check your levels? So if you have no visibility, how do you check your levels? How do you know if you're clipping? How do you know where your levels are bouncing around in GarageBand? I don't think there's a way. There's no auditory way. Even with hardware, there's no way that it like beeps or something if you're clipping. You kind of just have to listen unless you can actually see clip lights come on, or you can see that you're in the red. So if anyone has ideas on that, let us know. Gary Knight, thanks for the heads up on the icon thing. Going to come in handy. Yeah, it is super handy. Again, especially with backing vocals. Like I get confused which one of my backing vocals. There's cool logos that have like multiple people. So if you've got gang vocals and backing vocals, same with percussion loops. So say you're recording your own tambourine or something, you can actually put a tambourine there instead of just the wave, instead of just that speaker icon. Makes things good. Am I talking really fast today? I feel like I am. I'm trying to get through a lot. So sorry, I'll take a breath and slow down a bit. I do get a bit excited talking GarageBand. Finley Wright, thanks for making these videos. They're awesome. Thank you, my friend. Appreciate it. Jeff Brush, icon thing is cool for me as I use my keyboard for many instruments, so everything looks the same right now, right? Yes, it's especially good if you just plug in an external keyboard, and I got the same. So I've got my external keyboard, so I've got like a xylophone sound, and then I've got like a E piano sound, and then a grand piano sound. I can change those up. I can change the logo. Rather than just be audio recorder track every time, then it looks a lot better. Mark Guest Guitar, hello to you, my friend. I'm just sat here watching in the background, eating beans on toast. Love the stereo lag. We'll try that one. Yes, definitely very, very cool. Very, very cool. And thank you, Finley. It is an amazing community, and we'll talk about that in just a moment. And I'm glad that you are part of it, and I'm glad that you're all part of this. And I hope you've got some value. If you did, what do the kids say? If you got some value, smash that like button. Make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell to find out when. Sorry, it's just not me, but you can do all those things. Every time I do that, I get some people laugh and some people like, are you taking the piss? Like, what's wrong with doing all those things? I'm just trying to get people to watch my video. It's okay. It's all right. I'm kind. I come from a place of kindness, so it's fine. but I just can't quite do it. One day, I'm going to totally prank the channel here. One day, without saying anything, I'll tell you this now. I'll do it like on April Fool's, so you got a while, but I'll just release a video that will be like I'm completely just hyped up. So I'll start with, "Hey guys, and welcome to the channel. Don't forget to like." I'll just do those like big 1 minute intros, and then be all like hyped up and all lots of jump cuts and things going on and sound effect. Whoosh, whoosh. Yeah, it'll be you'll know it. You'll know the difference. Where did we get here? How did we get here? All right, one final thing. We've got a resource of the week, and over on the GarageBand users Facebook group, this place. There you go, GarageBand users group. If you're a Facebook user, what I say is if you're a Facebook user and you use GarageBand, get on the GarageBand users Facebook group. And if you're not a Facebook user and you're a GarageBand user, I know folks who have literally joined Facebook to become part of the GarageBand users Facebook group. And while you're there, create, record, release, which is my Facebook group. You can join that one as well. But if you go over to the GarageBand users Facebook group, there was a conversation there at the moment. And these happen from time to time. Folks asking about the best YouTube channels and the best resources for GarageBand content. And a lot of folks were sharing my channel. Thank you. Appreciate you. But also Patrick Baird over at the GarageBand Guide, Lou and Barringer at GarageBand and Beyond. We've got Dean Davis, the Songwriting Studio, Dan Baker's channel, Jade Star, Sion. We've got a lot of folks here creating a lot of cool content. So what I've done is I've updated the playlist that I put together, and I've got it down in the description, or if you're watching live, I will have it down there very soon, but I'll also link it over on the GarageBand users Facebook group. But I've basically taken one video from all of those creators and I've put them all in one playlist. So instead of you going and hunting and finding and searching, if you want to make sure that you're subscribed to the best GarageBand content creators on the internet, then go to that playlist. There's one video, probably like a highlight video from each of those, I'd say. So about GarageBand, about using GarageBand. So you can watch the video, but more importantly, you can subscribe to all of those folks because they are who I go to when I want to learn. Well, I don't know about the Mac. I watch a lot of Patrick's GarageBand Guide content because I don't currently use a Mac. I know about GarageBand iOS, but when I want to learn about how to do things on Mac. And I've literally told people how to do things in GarageBand Mac that I've never done myself simply because I watched one of Patrick's tutorials. So I'll say, here, I don't know how to do this, but here's how you do it. I've never done it, but Patrick showed me. Go over to his channel and check it out. So that is my recommendation to you. All right. We've got way off track and we've gone over time here today. So I'm going to put a fork in it. It is done. Thank you for being here once again. Yes, you can hit like. That does tell me I should come back and do these every week. Hope you got some value out of this one today. You can head over to studiolivetoday.com to find out all of the information about how to follow me online, all of the links to places that I like, the gear guide, how to support me through PayPal or Patreon or other things that start with P. They're all over there. And of course, the Facebook group GarageBand Users is a cool place to go. You can even pick up these t-shirts over on the GarageBand Users Facebook group as well. Thanks, folks. Have a great week. Don't forget, Jade Star has her How to App series, so jump over to check that one out. She's doing vocals this week, and I know many of you are super into your vocals, so get over to Jade Star's channel, catch her live shows, How to App, all week, talking vocals. Thanks, folks. I'll see you on the next one. Have a great week. Keep creating. See ya.